watching by the poplars, coronet with the sea blue eyes. She's watching and longing and waiting where the long white roadway lies, and a song stirs in the silence as the wind in the boughs above. She listens and starts and trembles. 'Tis the first little song of love. Roses are shining in Picardy, in the hush of the silver dew. Roses are flowering in Picardy, but there's never a rose like you. And the roses will die with the summertime, and our roads may be far apart, but there's one rose that dies not in Picardy. 'Tis the rose that I keep in my heart. And the years fly on forever, till the shadows veil their skies. But he loves to hold her little hands and look in her sea blue eyes, and she sees the road by the poplars where they met in the bygone years. For the first little song of the roses is the last little song she hears. Roses are shining in Picardy, in the hush of the silver dew. Roses are flowering in Picardy, but there's never a rose like you. And the roses will die with the summertime, and our roads may be far apart, but there's one rose that dies not in Picardy. 'Tis the rose that I keep in my heart.
Hello everyone, my name is Notepad, and on and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be working on Pojedynek Kobiet. Let me see if I can pronounce everything correctly. Pojedynek Kobiet, Krew na Sukience. I'm going to mispronounce that every time. Apologies to all of my Polish viewers. Before we begin, I would like to thank Dirty Eebs. I've talked to you before, you're from Australia. Like to thank him for following. We're at 222 people. Go us. Woohoo. We're doing it, boys. We're making it. But yeah, this is a Redux project. And because it's a Redux project, here's the secret with Reduxes. I'm allowed to be a little bit less intense about things, simply because there isn't actually it's mostly just fixing things. So if anyone has any questions, never hesitate to ask them, because that's really it. Nothing too exciting there. Reduce my voice down a little bit. Peekin'. Piccadilly. Piccadilly. Alright, so let's see the preface. I have to rewrite the preface, don't I? Alright. Pojedynek Kobiet. I'm gonna actually put this in Pojedynek Kobiet. I'm gonna have to pronounce the entire Krew na Sukience. Let me see if I can. Let's see if I'm actually pronouncing this right. That would be English to Polish. And then we do
Krew na Sukience.
Sukience. So that would be na Sukience. Krew na Sukience. Krew na Sukience. I also, as a fun fact for everybody, if you ever need to pronounce something, spell it out for them and be very direct how it's going to be actually linguistically said. Because sometimes, this might surprise some of you, people don't speak your language, and sometimes it's nice to actually just like be able to spell it out phonetically. So, let's see. And say, is the quote REDUX version of Pojedynek Kobiet, which was a game jam project I wrote a while ago. Now the original version was a combination of many factors, including time. Most notably, it was a long-winded rant toward a certain game by a certain company with a ne'er-do-well headpiece. Over the years, I have decided to quote warm up to the game, which is to say throw it on the bonfire and cook marshmallows. Due to that being its only redeeming factor. The second part was the note patterning of Song of Swords, which at the time of writing this has not really advanced at all from when I wrote the original. Outside more bad feelings and less desire to talk about it. It's not a duck of a game. One that has cemented itself as a bizarre touch point in the indie game. Actually, I should say in the quote TG game sphere as that failure. Hello, Ironside. Hello, Luca. Oh, Postal 4 got it released. That's no regrets, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I saw a video. G-Man did a video on that. I'm probably gonna watch that after. Yeah, I was never a really big Postal guy. Like, I think the term would be trying too hard, and maybe that was the point. Apparently still well, yeah, I think that's the point. Or arguably, that's always kind of been the point of let's like that's been always the point of it. Like nothing much else. Because like I have seen the opening of Postal 2 multiple times. I have never seen anyone get past the first level of Postal 2. Or like the first section. So for a very long time, I thought that's all Postal 2 actually was doing the go to the store. I actually thought that was like the thing for the longest time. Like, Bizarre touching TJ Games here as that failure with a Kickstarter. The original one, the OG, the original PK was pretty much just me taking the basic concepts and going as far as I could with a particular type of fighting, notably fencing. However, I have drifted from Song of Swords over time, less out of let me see. It would be less out of malice and more out of simply not caring anymore. Finally, the game jam itself was about a month, which PK was worked on between a major project, being one of the first quote weekend warrior projects. Believe I still streamed on Tuesdays and Thursdays during that time as well. Even before Notepad Anon became Notepad Anon underscore VT hashtag VTuber hashtag ENVTuber hashtag. So before I sold out. So I'm back. I'm back. Mostly to fix and edit some aspects, but mostly to put a nail in it. To put a nail in this old game of mine. As they say, tally ho. Go. Da-da. Oh, I want to keep you right there because I actually like kept note of all of the paintings I used, which I always feel is important. We had the Krew na Sukience, the Marshmallow, Nerd Duel, Nerd Duel. It keeps trying to pronounce Nerd Duel. What I'm trying to do is Nerd Duel. Oh, Nerd. horse. How do I... Let me just... Man, like, Postal always... Never been too fascinated in Postal. No, I think I missed the hype. Outside of... Actually, less bad feelings and more desire to not talk about it. Yeah, less bad feelings and more desire to not talk about it. Okay, so we put the... I'm trying to keep the majority of the artwork the relatively same because I like the artwork I used. So preface has been rewritten. So now we get to go through 54 different sections of the term character, where I get to go through all of them and double check. So whenever Kobiet. Actually, let's do this. Kobiet versus Kobieta. Kobieta is both normative form, subject of sentence. Kobieta is the instrumental form. To be. So Kobieta should actually work. So what's Kobiet? Genitive plural of Kobieta. Okay, so Kobieta. So let's see. The Kobieta is the correct term. So actually, if we use any term, the term character, we should be able to replace it with Kobieta. There we go. Welcome to English, everybody. Otherwise known as, we're talking about Polish. So, Pojedynek Kobiet, Sukience. Let's see, that would be KS. PKKS. Which is not quite as elegant sounding. Let's see, I liked most of Postal 4, just the glitches and bugs. Well, yeah, I think that kind of applies to most things. Anytime you encounter, like, some bad glitches or some, like, game-breaking bugs, no matter how much fun you're having with the game, it kind of lessens it to a degree. So, let's see. 2 to 5 players, a Imperial Auditor, spare time and love the afternoon tea in the garden, ignore the blood. Whenever a Kobiet attempts an action with the chance failing or is in opposition to another Kobieta, to another Kobieta, actually another character, to another Kobiet, actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in a footnote right here, is Kobiet equals woman. Yeah, equals woman in Polish. Kobieta is the, actually no, it would be Kobieta. Kobieta equals woman, while Kobiet equals plural of women. Equals women. That's another Kobiet. Whenever a Kobieta attempts an action with the chance of failure or is in opposition to another Kobieta, they must perform a check. The Kobieta rolls a number of d6s equal to their attribute. Plus arts bonus plus arts. I'm gonna put a note here, like, I don't know how I want to word this. I don't know. The Kobieta attempts to score successes by rolling a 5 or 6 on the die. If Kobieta rolls 1 on any of their die, then it's considered a botch, lowering the number of successes by 1. Often, only a single success is needed to pass a check. Capitalized check, because we already capitalized check. But most complicated rolls may have the Imperial Auditor call for more successes, called the target number. Target number easy. We'll do easy dash 2, 3. Actually, what we can do is call this standard. We'll call it complicated. Hard, very hard, incredibly hard. If the Kobieta's number of successes is equal to or greater than the target number, they succeed in the action and clear the situation. They were less than the target number, they fail and suffer the consequences. Having less than 0, botching more than succeeded is having less than 0 successes is a dramatic failure, with things getting exponentially worse. Exponentially worse. Covers the most basic fundamentals of play. Certain systems will have different rules tied to them, as explained below. Okay. Kukukuchuchu. Kekuku. Ome wa shinderu. Nani? I think Keikaku is probably like one of the words everyone knows. That nani. Nani? Ome wa shinderu nani? Ow. Ow. Prince Francis, war is hell. Old Holly debated about the nature of the Great War. War is hell. Prince Francis was shot and killed in 3490 by a rogue band of terrorists from the state of Saran in the Carlands. The tragedy is justified to bring the region to heel. The Saran state had signed a secret agreement with the Ruskian Empire, bringing the imperial throne. While his death was a tragedy, and let's see. While his death was a tragedy, it did justify the Austrasian imperial authority authority to bring the region to heel. Period. The Saran state had signed a secret agreement with the Ruskian Empire, bringing the imperial throne of Ruskia and Austrasia. The imperial throne of bringing the imperial throne of Austrasia and the empire to the east to blows. Calling upon the brave allies of Austrasia. Austrasia with most notably our brothers to the north, the Saxors to the north, the Saxorstein Empire. The Rusk had called their own alliances, had called upon their treacherous and backroom alliances with the venerable, weak, miserable states of Lyona and Albion. Because the entire idea of this particular little section here is to the east. Actually, they bring the imperial throne of Austrasia and the empire to the east to war, calling upon the brave allies of Austrasia, most notably our brothers to the north, the Saxon Empire. The Rusk had called upon their treacherous backroom alliances with the venerable, weak, miserable states of Lyona of Albion. Pretty much the entire idea is that this is literally a chronicle that has been written down. Why doesn't Russia, the largest of countries, simply eat the rest of Europa? Fun fact, actually, if you want a little bit of history, that's what everybody was literally terrified about with Russia during this era, during like the late 1900s. Everyone's like, man, actually not the late 1900s, it would be the early 1900s, late 1800s, was like, man, why can't Russia just do everything? Then the Russians just kept losing. And it was like, oh right, Russia's a bunch of fucking idiots. Let's see, miserable, war in Europa. Interrupted, and violence was the only recourse to the slights these nations had accumulated over the centuries. Things didn't go as planned. Bogged down in the war, trenches were dug, terrible weapons of war employed, vast pointless charges of an old style of warfare were launched. The Great War quickly turned a vast countryside into graveyards for thousands of in desolate wastelands. While the war proper is covered in section 12, situations at court will be covered here. The men who were not drafted are sent to work in the factories and produce the guns needed to win the war. Noble fathers, husbands, and sons are sent to the front to guide our soldiers to victory. The estates grow quiet and tumultuous as broken soldiers come home to tell of the horrors of war. Our beloved emperor, heaven guide his wisdom, needed a method to wouldn't be distract. It would be, what would be like the most favorable term to be like, method to placate the distraught daughters, wives, and mothers from plaguing the channels and calling for an end to the war. Rescinding the old imperial law, section 8 of volume 5, actually section 13 of volume 5. He instituted a right of noble-born women to duel one another for honor and justice with the goals of both entertainment and judicial practice, entertainment, and judicial regulation from the horrors of war. Heaven guide his wisdom. Yep. Literally, it's like, this is the most pretentious shit ever. That's the entire idea, because this is literally somebody writing this imperial chronicle, being like, yes, our beloved emperor, heaven guide his wisdom. Like, just simply gift the women-led movements, calling an end to the conflict. But after the now infamous duel between Princess Alexa and Countess Yevgeny, Lord protect her soul, the concept of the Pojedynek Kobiet, the women's duel in Kossin gained traction. The battle of the hearts and minds of the nation as women from all various estates began the trend, rating themselves with legitimacy from the court. It's time for powerful women and changing social norms, a time the few of us men could have predicted. The war is hell, and we dance with the devil for too long. See, this is one of the very few streams you'll ever get the right to see authentic booba. Okay, so Kobiet the creation, Kobiet the training, and actually we can do there, from Lady to Kobieta. Kobieta, Pojedynek Kobiet is a noble woman, released in service to one who has been given the right to duel. Let's see. Pojedynek Kobiet is a noble woman, or at least. Given the right to duel for honor. For honor in the ancient art of combat. I can see you, you little shit. You know you're there. Hello, little fruit fly. Just fly into the paper. Fly into the paper. It's right there. Even you die upon the paper as your brothers have. Fake news, boob. Feels bad, man. Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. Right to ancient art of combat. Being a woman. Being a woman in this time. Being a woman in this time. Actually, how do I want to word this? I could just keep it. Okay. Society is still dominated by men in a chauvinistic, I believe that's the correct term, chauvinistic. There we go. In a chauvinistic display of force, being held together by old norms, and a vast and impartial imperial law. There's one little fly here, and he's just not wanting to leave me alone. He really likes my... What do you gain, little fly? You gain nothing here. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take the suicide box where all of his friends are dead. I'm gonna put it right in front of me, so he's tempted to go to it. Let's see. Being held together by old norms and a vast imperial bureaucracy. Let's see. Vast impartial imperial law system. Which, let's see. The imperial law rescinded. Actually, imperial law has a strange exception for women and various other. Actually, how do I want to word this? Society being so dominated, men, chauvinistic displayed force, being held together by old norms of vast impartial. Actually, the Pojedynek Kobiet. Pojedynek Kobiet system is the method for the emperor to control the emotional women. Actually, the emotion and feminine instinct from diluting the various channels in the time of war. So the Kobieta are caught between the turning points, being both the old feminine socialites, dainty and needing protecting from from chivalrous knights, while also being the new Kobieta, a powerful and daring individual, able to shape the court to their liking at the tip of a blade. At the tip of a blade, all authorized by that same government. Because the entire idea is I needed to justify why women would be dueling. That's literally it. There is literally no other reason why this system exists. I just needed to justify it, and I did. Which being, the Emperor's fucking stupid. So let's see. Rewrites, new title, new thematic name. So, when the attributes, let me think. Would be a good way of thinking about this, because let's see what they are. That's personality, composure, which. So what would be attributes, synonym? Give me some synonyms. Feature, characteristics, traits, elements, aspects, property, distinctions. The good socialites. Let's see. Noble. What would be? How would you word that? Not necessarily attribute. So that would be synonym, characteristic synonym, property, traits, aspect, way, custom, habits, mannerisms. The idea is that these are both a combination of kind of more personal aspects while also being less, how do I want to word this? They are both very personal aspects, but also kind of like how you do things. So characteristics, elements, facets. I guess mannerisms wouldn't hurt. Habitual gesture. Toggle gesture, for example. As you are constantly twirling your hair in extreme extent. This is an example of a mannerism. Slender, long, blade twisting, turning bodies, contradicting traditional law of proportion are characteristics of mannerism. I guess that could work. So we call this mannerisms. Each copy has 3 mannerisms. Mannerisms represent their soul and their approach to situations, bravado, composure, and wits. Each copy starts with 1 in every mannerism. That's a really weird way. I don't know if I like that or not. Because what I wanted to do is I want it to be very socialite-esque. You know, very high society. Oh, well, dear, you have such bad manners. Bad mannerisms. You aren't looking correct. You aren't being correct. I want, like, the most petty shit to be like, this is a big deal. Like, you wore fucking what? Bitch, the fuck are you doing? You wore the wrong thing. Actually, court life? Like, etiquette would be the big ones. Order of Presidents, Royal and Noble Ranks, Order of Chivalries, or, Font of Honor. Like, again, it would be like etiquette. Would that be it? Social behaviors. You have an etiquette Would that be a correct word? Hmm. Etiquette, absolute monarch. In consequence, ceremonious royal favorably whereas foreign dignitaries whom the king received received at the seat of the French government, the Palace of Versailles in southwest of Paris. Politeness, manners. Hmm. Well, that's always nice. Money is good. Money makes the world go round, as they say. I guess we can call these manners. These could be 3 manners to represent their soul and approach. Actually, can 3... What would be another good term for etiquette? Etiquette synonym. Protocol, good manners, manners. Oh, that's a good word, actually. Formalities. Kobe has 3 formalities. Would represent their soul and approach to situations. Bravado, composure, and wit. Each copy starts with 1 in every formality. 8 additional then 8 additional formalities. 8 additional points among their other formalities. The maximum at 6 at Kobiet creation. Bravado. Let's see. Means we can actually change this. Bravado. See, the brute force personality, the conventional grace. Let's see. How do I want to word this? So we need to explain what the attributes do. So we can do something like bravado. What we can do is we can put this in like a table of some sort. So it could be like bravado, then BRV, and then we do that. So it's kind of the, a force of personality and conversational grace that the Kobiet exemplifies to never back down and hold her head up high. Kobiet hold her head up high. Bravado. The Kobiet reflects this on the field as well, being both aggressive and forthright for feelings. In which we go down to composure, which is going to be calm. So we do the willpower to keep. Well, the willpower to keep to keep calm under stress and not give into childish goading and sly insults is a task. Actually, is a skill noble women must learn quickly. Kobiet Kobiet on the field. Kobiet on the field. Use this icy grace. But to keep their blade steady. Blade steady and always pointed forward. That's your defensive attribute. Oh my god, start thinking about that and cat trap game. What do you fucking want from that? That's not a game, that's an idea. So that'd be wits. So wits. Wit. Oh, words have a dozen meanings. Words have a dozen meanings. Each language in each language has 1,000 phrases. A noble woman's goal is to understand and exploit the little weaknesses in both language and person. The Kobiet, the Kobiet is able to see through her enemy and strike the decisive blow. It's about being wise and not being absolutely murked by your enemies. Not exactly the most complicated thing in the world, but we want to insert a table, and we will do something like this. And what I mean by this is, if we tape this in, we can go something like this. We are using Lato. Put you like this, put you like this, and then we put you right here. Yeah, shouldn't be that way, but we're going to work with it. Kobiet. What does this look like if we do that? Cool. Okay. I like it when things come together. Composure. Please post on the shit here. Okay, so understand weakness, decisive. We do that. We do table properties, white on white. We keep things top center. So what we can do is can we bump you up like 2 points? There we go. We slap an image right down here. Does that look? Actually, let's do this, because we understand that they're formalities. I have the money. You're the freelance game designer. Like, you gotta give me something here, man. I'm good. I'm not that good. So arts. Ooh boy. Okay, now we're gonna work on arts. So the art is a skill. Let's get here. In art is a skill at the Kobiet. That the noble woman has developed over the years and has become proficient at. But each art is a actually I should not say a two-sided affair. In art covers both interactions at court, as well as interactions at court, as well as the moments of the moments on the field, namely which weapon is being employed by the Kobieta. At Kobieta creation, each Kobieta. So if we do this, we have to rank 1. At rank 2, these add a flat amount of dice to the check being made by the Kobieta. So what we do is we select everything here. So 2 arts at rank 1 or a single art at rank 2. These add a flat depending on the rank's value, the Kobieta will add a number of d6s equal to their art's rank. Actually, the Kobieta single art at rank 2. The Kobieta will add their art's ranking to a check if it becomes relevant. There we go. Add their Kobieta art's ranking to a check. So, the adapted art. After the adaptation is the youngest and most specific arts toward the Pojedynek Kobiet. Using the common womanly practice such as needlework, painting, or other feminine tasks, the art focuses on flow and adaptable combat techniques while in the fight. Common quarterly behaviors and tasks such as needlework, arts, and other feminine duties. Feminine duties. Allowing one skilled them to excel at and somewhat menial tasks of court life. What we do is we're going to adapted arts focus on long swipes and dedicated maneuvers, focusing on the bonus on. Yeah, so what we need to do is we go here. Art focuses on close cuts and delicate maneuvers, adding their rank to any short style one-handed bladed weapons. Short style one-handed bladed. We have 2 specifics. It's either going to be a specific weapon, or it's going to be like a style plus weapon category. So let's see. Actually, we don't need the adapted arts. Focus on close cuts and delicate maneuvers. Esoteric, which means we need to increase you by 1, 2. Strange mix of are from the strange and wonderful, consulting the old texts and internal documentations from probably irrefutable sources. These arts are odd, mysterious, occultic, and other phrases that tend to be associated with weird. You have a lore and setting. Alright, I can work with that. Are for noble who dabbles in the mysterious, looking for wondering about things far outside traditional academia or anything resembling actual science. All about tricks and styles. Okay, so or to them using mysterious, ill thought out strategies to defeat their opponent. They add their rank. They add their rank when they attempt a combat trick. Very simple. Every time you perform a combat trick, you're going to add your esoteric. Noble women. So, focus entirely on conversation and dealing with other women. While dealing with people you hate is a surefire way to grow annoyed with others. Luckily, the Pojedynek Kobiet allows you to challenge them to a duel if they're annoying. If they cross the line. There we go. Noble women arts are perhaps the most tested methods of dueling available, meaning the only advantage afforded them is the biting words and insults that let's see. So, noble women art are perhaps the most tested methods. Meaning that the only advantage afforded to them is the biting words and insults that can bait opponents. They, wait, let me see, they add their rank to any conversational technique. We state the bonus. It's usually like conversational techniques are actually fairly weird, and that's for a good reason. What I can probably do is we do this. Ooh. Okay, so there's art teaching oneself the power of fighting. So we do 14. Oneself the power of fighting, be it dealing with others or being self-reliant enough to be able to deal with your problems from... What? An art to teaching oneself of the power, actually the art, actually the, how do I want to do this? There is an art to teaching oneself the skill of fighting, be it dealing with court drama, or knee deep in the muck of a duel. Self-taught arts are perhaps the most dangerous on the battlefield, on the battlefields of court and war, as they are unique but unpredictable. Unpredictable. There's the art of teaching oneself the skill of fighting, be it dealing with court drama or knee-deep in the muck of a duel. Self-taught arts are independent as they are headstrong, allowing them to push and bite their way through matters that are outside the expertise of the aristocratic elite, getting dirty when other nobles would balk. How do I want to word this? Would balk at? Hesitate. Actually, is there a better word for hesitate synonym? Give me a good word. Pause, delay, hang back, shilly shally, dither. Dither is a great word. Would dither. In duel, self-taught art, while not being refined or dedicated as others, have the key advantage of adaptability, being able to quickly shoot forward and charge change one strategy. Self-taught, let's see, so... The Kobiet may use her rank in bonus die to any clash. No, it'd be 20 bout. It'd be a bout during a duel once. So pretty much like the big thing here is that you can use your self-taught thing whenever you want. That's the big thing. You can do it whenever you feel like. However, the catch being that you can only really do it once. It's like, wait a second, you're going to do this, and then you'll adapt to the situation. So, Actually, a phrase among the nobility. A phrase among the nobility, referring to girls who are taught, who are raised to be sons by, my sonless nobles, or being raised in a masculine home with many brothers. There's many brothers. The Soldenmachten. The Soldenmachten art is dedicated to the ancient art of dedicated to the ancient act of roughhousing and interacting with the male youth they were raised around. Let's see. So, yeah, literally the entire idea behind the Soldenmachten is that they are women who are traditionally kind of raised as men, and they can interact with men a lot better because they kind of get the idea. And to anyone who's ever, like, interacted with one of these people, but you know these kind of people. Usually, like, I actually knew quite a few of them back in, like, Nebraska and such, is that a lot of them were, had a, like, 3-4, had brothers or something, or they were the only daughter or something like that, leading to them to being a little bit odd. We would call them tomboyish now, but unfortunately, tomboyish has become a little bit odd over the years. Tomboyish and can interact with men with a manner they understand, useful for getting what they want. Getting what they want from those usually hesitant, from those in a, quote, boys club. You're one of the boys. Don't ceaselessly proper form and styles of combat, but their true strength lies in more physical training. Grab throws and other valuable fighting techniques. Grabs and throws. They are allowed to add their rank to any grappling check, which is very good, by the way. Yeah, grappling checks allow you to grab people and break them over your fucking spine, including the gut move. If you roll good enough on certain grappling, you can just kill someone outright. Because you grab them, then you shove your knife into their gut, and then you pull it out. They're not going to get out. They're dead. Like, if you've hurt them enough, they're going to just go down immediately. There's nothing really they can do. But that's one thing I wanted to kind of do with grapples, is that getting grappled is scary. And against the Soldenmachten, if they get close to you, you're gonna get grappled. I could probably add. Let's think of what can be added here. Right now, today is going to be a little bit of cleaning more than anything. I started a little bit late, so it might be a little bit of a short one. If you haven't realized, I'm trying to get ready to move. I've been talking about it a little bit. So it's a lot of been like, well, gotta organize this. Oh, gotta organize this. So let's see. Just as a note for myself, what do we need to add? Add more. We can do weapon-specific arts. Add more weapon-specific arts. Add more. Let's see. We just go down to straight combat. Actually, let's see. Breakdown of around stance and style. We can probably do stance styles. Like stance arts. let's do weapon specific arts, stance arts, because based on entirely off the stance that you're currently in. So it's kind of something that you can, like, wait a second, I know exactly what this person's trying to pull off here. Let's see, so we have basic strikes, tricks. Let's see, defensive. Actually, we can probably add a defensive one. We'll put in... let's see, defensive arts. See, here's this one, wounded arts. I can actually probably throw in something like that. And wounded arts. So it's kind of along the idea of like adding some more weapon specific ones, like you can use great swords better, or you can use these better, in addition to like you are in the offensive stance, so you can do, you know, you're going to get a bonus, or you are in this stance, so you can do this. Because the big idea behind arts, this is like a big thing, is that not only are your arts influencing you, the character, and how you're going to want to fight, it's also influencing how others are going to approach you. If you go full offense, the second you're not able to do that, you're going to be at a disadvantage. And if they damn well know that you like really short blades, they're probably going to set up a situation where you have to use something you're not in a good way with. Which is kind of one of those things where you can kind of work in being like, well, I'm gonna have to duel this person. What does she do? Whoa, she is skilled at adapted arts. Okay, so we know something about her. Or wait a second, what do you mean she's a Soldatenmaktin? What do you mean she's like this? In addition to things like, hey, she's got ranks in great swords, but she's also got ranks in adapted, so she's kind of covering her bases, but she's spread thin. So maybe I can exploit that. Maybe I can, you know, get in there and do something to assist. You don't start with many arts, but that's kind of how that's one of the big things with leveling up. So probably add a few more. So let's see, not defined by their station, but by their homeland and people. There's not hundreds of minor ethnicities that make up its population, with each one being unique in its own way. However, in the upper side of society, only a handful of these ethnic groups find purchase. So here's something we're going to do. Let's do Austria. So the Austro-Hungarian Empire ethnic groups. Let's see who was here, everybody. Oh boy. So we had Germans, Hungarians, Czechs, Serbo-Croatians, Poles, Ruthenians, Romanians, Slovaks, Slovenes, Italians. I'm going to have to make that. But we also have things like Bohemians, Dalmatians, Galatians. Let's see. So many Catholics, few Muslim. That's where the Roman Sultanate comes in. Because, like, here's the weird thing: the Polish and Serbs and kind of like Serbs, they're a little bit more represented than like the Hungarians in this one. So I need to kind of throw in like, who are the Hungarians, and kind of give them something to work with, including things like Romanians. Also, if you ever want to know why the glorious, Austro-Hungarian Empire fell, that's why. Turns out ethnic problems are a bitch to deal with. So yeah, we can probably throw out a few of those. So actually, what I can do. So we're going to throw in the Mayor, which are going to be Hungarians. Actually, what do I do? Austro. We need to throw in Latvians, Italians. Fucking Italians. We need to throw in Ruthenian Romanian. God, what do you even call these? Because the Ruthenian people are a little bit weird because they're not... Ruthenia doesn't exist, but Ruthenia does exist because they're kind of like they're effectively Ukrainians, but they're different kinds of Ukrainians. Like, so yeah, we need to do... Okay. So we're going to add like the, quote, Ruthenians slash Romanians. I don't know how we could do that. And if we add that, we're probably going to have to add the, we're gonna have to add the, like the Romani. So there we go. Hey, this is going to give me a reason to actually do, it's going to give me a good explanation to actually throw in the King of the Gypsies. Let me see if I can find the old King of the Gypsies. He's up. Where was it? Ah, I can't find him anymore. One day I'll show everyone like the King of the Gypsies. Because yes, that is a like King of the Gypsies. But like there was like an actual... Ah, here we go. Yeah, there was this like... There's a guy who pretty much crowned himself the King of the Gypsies. And... Let me see if I can remember all the original ones. It was... Janos, that was it. The interwar period, the Kuwik family, the royal dynasty of the Roma, Poland. Yeah. Yeah, the Kruad family, the Roma. You learn something new about the Romani people. It's very fascinating. So, population, special, unique fact burned into their mind, impressionable youth from a young age. There are others who aren't as impressive or important. There are your people who are more important and deserve special attention. This is a constant struggle for who gets what. It's a fact of life inside the estates of Austrasian society. As Kobieta creation, a Kobieta must choose their ethnicity, allowing them to get small bonus attributes as well as in art. Actually, as well as in art related to their ethnicity. There we go. Because yes, this is very important. And people like, what? You can't assign attributes to this. They're not attributes, everybody. They're formalities. Remember that. They're not attributes, they're formalities. And because they're formalities, they aren't being assigned any physical characteristics. It is literally just, as this person, you are expected to be this way. Listen in, hostile to outsiders, social circles often try to become leaders of their own various local hierarchies. Let's see. When dealing with non-Austrasians. Austrasians are dedicated to the ancient art of efficient, and are dedicated to efficient and deadly strikes, relying on the traditional over any exotic weapon. So they're pretty much getting a bonus to being the most boring, basic things imaginable, but they're very good at that. Saxor. The Saxor people are militaristic and dedicated, being the same breed as proper Austrasians. Riding high off the last Saxo-Lionese War, they have taken their jingoism to a new level, but that reminds me, the Bunderkrieg. When did the Bunderkrieg take place? Bunderkrieg, the Austro-Prussian War. which we want to do the Franco-German. That would be the Franco-Prussian War would be 1870. This one was, okay. Riding high up the last Saxo-Chinese War, they have taken their jingoism to a new level, reflecting even on their women. Proud and demanding. In court, Saxo women are taught early the methods of war and knowledge. Actually, they may add their rank when using the weapon. They add their rank. Heavy and partial. People posting gotcha in my server. God. Why are you people the way that you are? Oh, Jesus. Okay. Okay, so that means just no sex or weapon. It's a weapon, as well as similar to sex or steed. The war machine is the great sword. Because remember, if you're fighting someone in this, if you're fighting a Saxor, they're going to fuck your day up if they are allowed to use this, which they are going to at all times. So always, please clarify with them that you cannot use their giant weapon, but they probably have a plan for that. Reduce the size just a little bit here. I need to move the Penuruk down. Traditionally part of the Australia's imperial authority, the Karlander are a dour people. I'm not going insane. Dour people, brutal into conflict, and carrying others' words towards them. Angering them is a quick method for a duel, however, regardless of gender. They recently come fire to the connection to the Karlander state of Saran. I should need to capitalize that. Karlanda. An open revolt against the imperial authority, but bringing that up just angers them more. They're hot-tempered. They are your tomboy waifu who's probably gonna break your fucking balls. Karlanders are a proud batch, even if they do mostly hate one another. They're dislike others involving themselves in their affairs does produce a strong unity between them. Karlanders gain their rank when dealing with their own people. They pretty much support one another. If you're playing a Karlander, you're helping Karlanders. High-speed duel adrenaline, rolling any weapon they can find with graceful ease. They add their rank to all combat tricks. Add the rank to combat tricks. The Pen Uruk, daughter of the Pen. Room Sultanate are academics, theologians of faith. This is mighty as a pen in court, being a learned soul. Understand the intricacies. They gain their rank when dealing with when dealing with foreigners. Yeah. Let's see. The Penruk have learned short style, very specific short style. Sword Uruk, daughter of the sword. I could probably add like another Uruk cast. For those wondering why they're called Uruk, it is. Let me see if it's Let me see if I can remember what it is. It's Uruk. Gilgamesh, the Sumerian city-state of Uruk. Not Urukai. Urukai comes from this, actually. Fun fact. You learn something new every day. Let's see. Raise a shot. They get bonus from intimidation and dealing with soldiers. They gain their rank to. They gain to intimidation and dealing with soldiers. White Kosonite people. The white. Let's see. The Kosan people are best described as a friendly, how do I want to do that? Reserved and less politely described as standoffish. What would be actually would be it would be mean synonym. Let's see, this would be there we go, malicious. And less politely described as malicious. Malicious. Drafted by the thousands to fight in Astraza's war. Astraza's wars, the Kosonite people have been fighting in wars for their people. Have been fighting in wars for their people's entire existence. They are mercenary by trade and culture. With the entire idea being that the white Kosonites are very different. Yeah. You know, it's like, white Kosons are a former nation of Ksania, a small micronation which was given land authority after the breakaway from Muskia and Rum during their last major conflict 50 years ago. Duels. Let's see. When using traditional Kosonite blades, allows them to add their rank. Let's see, gain bonus equal to their rank among their fellow Kosonites. Black Kosons. Some people fighting more mercenary by culture and need. Black Kosons are the most common of the Kosonites' rural and mercenary approach to their methods. Organized into roving armies, the Koson hosts are another batch of military, in fact, not lost on either side. To the Black Kosons, though, it's just a fact of life. The Kosons are effectively Polish Cossacks. I could probably add in a dedicated, these are the Polish. Left on par with describing a beautiful leper, a humble saxor, something that can't happen, but rarely does. Person that adds, it doesn't earn them a degree of trust with everyone except other Cossins. Cossinites. Because the thing is, everybody knows that all your other Cossinite brothers and sisters literally know that you're probably on the take, and everyone's accepted that. Because you can't lie to your brothers and sisters, but you can sure as hell lie to everybody else. Yeah, the Saxor really don't have that much. I might add some more for the Saxor just to give them a little bit more personality. I don't know what I would want to add. Like, the problem with the Saxor is that they are literally just the Germans, 2 more German. Comedy German accent. That's literally the Saxors. Let's see. The Baltic people are tough and strong, of will and determination, standing against their former risking overlords. While many Baltic nobility have fled the country due to the fighting, a few hardy few hold out in freezing conditions and deadly fighting. Let's see. In duels, fighting is born of the blood, slow and methodical. We can probably give them... fighting is born into the blood of the Baltic people. Actually, fighting is etched into the soul of the Baltic people. Slow and methodical. They fight long and hard with... Actually... They fight long and hard regardless of injury. They gained their rank. Let's see. They gained their rank when they sustain a wound. Pretty much the absolute most terrifying state you could be in is lightly injuring a Baltic person, because they will be able to add the fact that they are Baltic to literally everything. So the Bulan, near the Crushing Wars theory prior, the Bulan people are considered the Sacs or the South. Proud of militarists, people who... people who many consider backward or headstrong due to rank military and vengeful natures. This hasn't stopped the Bulan women from embracing the Pojedynek Kobiet, but fully becoming valuable members of the Bulan military cast their own way. Jingo's prodigy. Gort. The Bulan people of keen understanding. They gained their rank. Of styles. So what we can do here, we'll give them Bulan women fight a blind confidence few can muster. Aggression unseen in many circles. Sunny circles in a whirlwind of steel and hate. They add their rank when in the offensive stance for combat. So Bulan women are going to get bonus when they are pretty much being aggro, which is something that you should understand, but maybe always learn because of that. Are they going to go aggro, or are we going to get fucked? There we go. People talking about gotcha in my server. I may as well add more. So yeah, let's see, like Latium, let's see, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can probably add in one more Urut cast, kind of wrap up everything. Kind of depends on how I handle the arts. I think we could probably mix and match those two a little bit to give them a little bit more personality. Court interactions. Okay. I want to just go over that a little bit deeper. Oh, God. Okay. Okay, so let's see. So, when a duel has been agreed upon, reconciliation is impossible. The following rights are given to both challengers. The attack is able to choose the time. Easy to choose the time of. Easy to choose the time of the duel. From morning, midday, or evening. Pretty much, you have to fight after breakfast, after lunch, or after dinner. Those are your 3 options. Able to set the initial date of the duel, but cannot be within 1 week. It cannot be within 1 week. Week of challenge. Pretty much to say you can't challenge someone and then the next hour fight them. You have to give them at least 1 week. Is able to choose one location for the duel to take place in. Is able to disallow one kind of weapon. Is able to disallow one type of weapon. Great swords, great swords, one-handed swords, etc. So pretty much saying that, like, no great swords. Okay. They will choose which staff is allowed and disallowed from the duel. How much room do we have left? Not much. But what I can do is we're going to do this, put the word of mercy down below. A medical professional, man or woman. Actually, may specify if only women are allowed. May specify if only women are allowed. In which we only specify if women are allowed. May dictate the number of audience members. May dictate if the duel will be open, closed to the public. Actually, no. What we can do is welcome to fucking god damn it. No, I don't want to do that. God, fuck, God. Sometimes these lists can get a little bit fucky-wucky. Okay, may specify if only women are allowed. May specify if only family members are allowed. Royalty. Oh, actually, those of higher station are exempt from the requirements. Exempt from the requirements, but must request formal admission from the imperial auditor. which is this is a very long and specified way of saying you have the option of whether or not you want to have only women present. There are going to be no men present. Usually at that point you have an Imperial Auditor in question, unless the Imperial Auditor and only Imperial Auditors available are men. But they are of a higher station than you, so they are exempt from the requirements. If only family members are present, effectively family members can be brought along. They kind of are their own special class, which is to say, hey, if you die, it's good to have family nearby because that's your only, that is something that is in your right to do such. However, if someone is of higher station, i.e., if you are let's say you are a countess and a duchess fighting, having, another duchess appear is technically okay. They can break that even if they're not really supposed to be there. However, they have to have formal admission from the Imperial Auditor. Pretty much the guy running the duel must show up and give them the okay to do such. But if it's like, hey, the fucking Empress wants to watch this duel, yeah, he's going to say, yeah, of course. Yeah, no shit. No shit, you have the right to do such. Okay, so is able to actually no, I'm not going to do that one. Is able to choose the weapons able to choose the weapon to be weapon or weapons able to be used in the duel. Pretty much, it's like the big idea is that the attacker can say, you cannot use great swords. No matter what kind of great sword there is, you cannot use it. However, the defender is able to say, cool, we can't use great swords. Well, I'm going to say only short swords, only short sabers, or only daggers. That's my duel requirement. We can only use these, and you have to say, okay. Is able to choose, attacker must agree, or the auditor will choose between the locations. A week after the proposed time, is able to dictate the number, dictate whether the duel will be public or private. Able to dictate audience size, as well as able to dictate audience size, able to dictate hello phone, dictate would be a good way of saying this. Actually, able to dictate if lower class individuals are able to watch. Pretty much, you have the right to say no. You, the attack, you may say, oh well, you can't have anyone. No, medical people are allowed in the duel. It's a duel to the death. It's like, okay, I want a full audience. I want everybody in there, including lower class. So you're like, I want a private, we want a private duel. However, I only want people of equal or higher station to actually be present, which is going to be fairly common. Fair and balanced engagement, Imperial Auditor's Code of Conduct. Challenge or not, disagree with previous rights. The Imperial Auditor, if the Imperial Auditor is unable to perform their duties, then the newly appointed Imperial Auditor will need to contact and clarify the points listed for record keeping. Effectively, if your Imperial Auditor gets sick, you have to wait until the next Imperial Auditor is chosen. Which, if you want to delay a duel, delay them. Which is kind of a big idea. Like, if the Imperial Auditor is your friend, then you may be able to get away with something a little bit more. Like, oh, well, I'm not feeling too hot, and like they just never pick a successor, or the successor just isn't chosen. So that brings the Word of Mercy. Let's see. Decided that first. Duels are decided at first blood. First Kobieta. First Kobieta to receive a serious wound. Receive a wound or a serious wound. Actually, to receive a wound, even if they are a light wound. This is the first blood. First Kobieta to receive a wound, or one side capitulates and admits defeats. If a challenger is unable to continue the fight, the victorious challenger must allow them to gain necessary medical assistance. Killing a downed opponent deliberately is an act of murder, will be treated accordingly. And to fight one another, then neither side is victorious. The duel is called a draw. A draw may also occur. Draw may also occur if both participants agree to cease the duel. Cease the duel. Okay. Effectively, that's even stating like, do you want to just stop this fight that's kind of pointless? We've kind of already made up. And someone can say, yeah, okay. And if you both agree, you both put down your swords. Actually, draw may occur if both participants agree to cease the duel. If a duel is called, yeah. So it's kind of like you both put your your swords down. It's like, okay, we're done. However, you don't have to. If someone says, well, this duel is kind of pointless, we should just stop, you can be like, yeah, it is kind of pointless, as you lunge forward to stab them in the chest. Like, haha. You can still win. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to put that right here. Death or victory. Want to establish a legal. Determine some circle mean the only true victory is when one side is died. Bloody duels. Let's see. It is often applied in secret among the seconds or the challengers themselves. Legal duel. Legal duel. Under common occurrence, the eruption appeal auditor is either unavailable, is completely disallows the duel from taking place due to unreasonable demands, not follow dueling laws, instead rely on deadly conflict. While not strictly legal to take part in, they are still recognized as legally binding due to a small stipulation to allow cost-night dueling laws to continue unimpeded. We do have the right to shut down the duel, avoiding any current result. Not that dueling privilege is revoked and placed under house arrest for a set amount of time, or another Kobieta or family member of high standing is able to vouch for them. Accused of a crime rather than stand trial, they may offer to have a trial by combat, sending either themselves or a champion to fight in their stead. The judicial champion fights on behalf of the court and is by all accounts a legal duel, except the attacking challenger, the accused, has no attacking rights. So you have none of these. You're going to have to pretty much stipulate whatever the court says. The duel is going to take place a week from now after lunch. You know, you must use. We're going to use great swords. You know, and like, yeah, everything out there, and like we have a full staff and everything. Okay. All right, we think we made pretty good progress. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do? Just like flat out what needs to be done. Well, we need to add more arts. Add more arts. We need to add more ethnicities. Add more arts, add more ethnicities. Gachi Muchi. People are good. The ethnicities we need to add in. Actually, this works. We'll do art. We need to add in, so just like some basic concepts, more arts. That's going to be pretty easy. More ethnic ties. More these, that's fine. So actually, we need to overhaul the relationship. A relationship and an ensemble mechanics. Overhaul the biting words system. I guess that's what you would call it, the biting words system. Actually, I could probably call it the dignity system. Dueling law works. Actually, I need to specify certain staff members for the dueling law section. But this is probably going to be a series of side notes down here, being like, these are what kind of like who's going to be present for duels. Legal duels, judicial duels. So then we need to fix up combat, stance and style, defensive their style. Yeah, a lot of this is just probably on this is going to probably be Friday, is me just fixing the styles up. Stabbing and slashing damage. Actually, I need to add more weapons, which is going to be in the blunt category, the staff category, because I think that'd be fun. We can probably add in guns. Just, if we're going to go dueling, may as well be official with it, and just, you know, swick around with a fucking flintlock and pop a bitch. We can probably, let's see, we have all of these long swords, sabers, lantiums. We can actually probably overhaul the experience system. Yeah, there we go. It's like, generally, I think things are going pretty well. It's just a lot of little parts that all needed to be actually added together. So this is what needs to be done. Which seems like a lot, but it really isn't, because it's just a lot of little things. And it's like adding more arts, adding more ethnicities, overhauling relationships. Mostly a lot of this, I want to kind of play this together a little bit. I don't know how I want to do it, though. Probably on Friday, we're going to be working on fixing up combat, however. That's going to be my main priority. While once combat's kind of fixed up, this works a little bit better. And depending on how well combat goes, this might kind of inform this section a little bit. Like, this is all just lore stuff right here. But yeah, it's kind of like a, you need to do this before you can do these. In order to things. Alright, so thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad Anon. Hope you had a wonderful rest of your time. We'll be streaming on Friday. Tomorrow, I'm going to be working on the Root video, which is going to be a long one because the Root role-playing game is kind of bad. But not in the way you'd think. This Saturday, I still don't quite know what I plan on doing. There's a few ideas, but it's kind of going back and forth. Hopefully voting will be up by then. And when voting is up, things should be going pretty well. Let me see. Is there anything else exciting? No, nothing really. So, thank you all. Godspeed, good luck, and I will see you all on Friday, hopefully. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I am, as they say, away.